Back now to our top story and that new video showing the Kouachi brothers moments after the massacre last week at Charlie Hebdo and shouting that they had avenged the Prophet Muhammad. Watch. Despite praising the Prophet and the brothers' tribute to al-Qaeda, the Obama administration today still refusing to call these terrorist suspects, quote, radical Islamists. Brigitte Gabriel is the president of Act for America, which is the nation's largest nonprofit organization devoted to promoting national security. And Alan Colmes, you know him, you love him, the host of the nationally syndicated Fox radio show, The Alan Colmes Show. Welcome to you both.
Hi.
Thank you.
All right, Brigitte, are you surprised at all? Some say, listen, this administration has been very careful about its relationship to the Muslim community and wanting to build bridges. Some say, though, now, when we're talking about these specific individuals, that there are specific words that would be appropriate to use. The White House says no.
Well, President Obama has systematically, since he came into office, avoided calling anything relating to Islam and terrorism together. As soon as he became president in 2009, he changed the threat assessment plan for the nation and took out every word relating to Islam, Islamic radicalism, Islamic terrorism, jihad or jihadism. In 2010, he purged all our counterterrorism training manuals out of anything referring to radical Islam the same way as he did with the threat assessment plan. President Obama is on a mission to protect the image of Islam because he believes that protecting the image of Islam is very important to him because he was born into the Muslim faith, raised by a devout Muslim father in an Islamic country whom he idealized, and he feels he does not want to give a bad image to Islam, and he's more concerned about protecting the image of Islam than protecting the people of the United States.
And Brigitte, to be clear, I mean, he had very little contact with his father, but we know he grew up all over the world and has different viewpoints maybe than the average American would have. Alan, though, at this point, though, with these guys specifically being caught on film, making specific statements, what would it hurt for the White House to be able to say, in this case, these people are radicalized Islamic terrorists?
It's not Islamic. And by the way, Obama's father was an atheist, and he didn't have much contact with his father, as you pointed out, Shannon. The word Islamic terrorism, those words should not be used together. It's not Islamic. And let me quote Malek Mirabay, the brother of Ahmed Mirabay, who was the police officer, the Muslim who was killed in Paris just last week, who said that Islam is a religion of peace and that mad people have neither color nor religion. These are false Muslims. And to say that this is Islamic or that this is Muslim would be the same thing as saying that Christians who kill people at abortion clinics are representing Christianity. That's not Christian. When you act like that, you are not acting in the name of any faith. You may think you are. You may use those words, but that's not Christianity, and this is not Islam.
Well, and Brigitte, to that,
big difference.
To that point, let me say this, though, that today that in the briefing, Josh Earnest said, basically to call them that would be to justify their explanation for what they're doing. And he's saying that they don't want to give them that justification and that they don't want to give them that label that maybe the killers were seeking, but that aren't, as Alan argues, accurate. What do you say?
Well, we can have our own justification and we can have our own opinion. The truth is the truth and reality is reality. The book of the Quran commands these jihadists to do exactly what they're doing. The verses in the Quran are very clear at the end of the Quran. All the violent verses abrogated all the peaceful verses in the beginning of the Quran. This is why the law is on the side of the radicals. So what the radicals are doing are not a twisted version of the Quran. They have not hijacked the Quran. They are following in the footsteps of Prophet Muhammad. The sooner we can recognize this reality and have the courage to utter those words and deal with the problem, the sooner we win this fight.
All right, Alan, I want to ask you about this rally that we're hearing about that's going to be outside Dallas this weekend, the Stand with the Prophet. It's going to involve a lot of Muslim leaders, imams, and other religious leaders who say that they want to have a special recognition and celebration of standing with the Prophet Muhammad. And they say that, that it's important. It's a message of peace.
Good.
So do you think that that will help to mend any fences or to reach across any divides that we have here?
You know, we keep hearing from so many people who are anti-Islamic and Islamophobes that where are the Muslims speaking out whenever there's violence in the world, whenever there's an act of terror? Where are the Muslims gathering and getting together and speaking out against this? Well, here it is, and yet they are being criticized because there are a couple of speakers, including an unindicted co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center attack.
Why invite that guy, though? You know it's gonna. You know that's going to invite criticism.
Sure,
I mean, a guy who has been very controversial. So why include him in this event if it's going to be peaceful?
Because you include the entire panoply of people, and the fact of the matter is that you show the broad spectrum, and that's exactly what they're doing. And for the most part, this is a conference speaking out about this being a religion of peace and embracing exactly what that is. So when those people say, well, isn't it about time Islamics got together and finally renounced terrorism and talked about it being a peaceful religion, well, here they are. Here it is on a silver platter. So I hope people accept that this is what's going on here.
Well, from my understanding is that Mr. O'Reilly may be sending someone down there to cover it, and hopefully that's exactly what we find. In the meantime, I want to make sure that we put up the new cover of Charlie Hebdo and get you all to react to this, because it's got a depiction of the prophet, which obviously upsets a lot of folks out there. But he's holding a sign saying "Je suis Charlie," as we saw all across Paris and across France and really across the world this past week in the aftermath of the events in Paris. And also there's an apology on there, or it says all is forgiven. And there were some questions about what that meant, but the editor-in-chief of Charlie Hebdo said that's their statement. They're not saying that Muhammad is saying that, they're saying all is forgiven. Brigitte, do you think that that's a good gesture? Do you think the goodwill will work?
This is a good gesture and goodwill for people like us who understand what that means. As far as the Islamists are concerned, it doesn't mean anything to them. Again, we are reflecting our values and our Western thinking on other people, and it doesn't work that way. And I would like to clarify one thing. Actually, the rally in Texas this next weekend is basically to avenge the Prophet Muhammad and to defend his honor. It's not to celebrate freedom of speech and the ability to be able to criticize anything the Quran says. It's completely the opposite of that. And I'm glad the French agency tomorrow is publishing these pictures, and kudos for Fox News and everybody else, all the Western media, to even show that picture and that caricature.
Alan, quickly, your reaction on the cover?
I agree with that. I think it's great that we're showing it. This is exactly in line with what Charlie Hebdo does, which is to show and to say, it's great satire to say we apologize when they're the last ones to be offering an apology. It's exactly what they should be doing.
All right. Well, they say all is forgiven. And we like to end on a note of agreement between you two, Brigitte and Alan. Good to see you both.
Thank you.
Our new research from Pew says more than half of the kids right now in America are being raised in a home without a mother and father. Senator Marco Rubio says that is a real problem. He's here next, live on that, plus the quickly changing 2016 field. Will he have any announcements? Plus, President Obama, vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin famously fought over what path the country should take on energy. Tonight, why the former governor may be getting the last laugh.
Let me tell you a couple of other things that we will embark on to better this great country. We will set this country firmly on a course towards energy independence.